So welcome everyone to this episode of ForageCraft. So in this episode, I'm still not exactly sure. I do want to do more work on the spaceport, but I'm still not exactly sure what I want to do with that. It's just a whole mess, and it's just, I'm not very inspired right now for that specific project, and the same thing goes for the wood farm and all the other ones. So I think instead, I am going to ignore them, and I'm going to finish up this ground area at least. I want to do work on the boat area and the structures, and we'll get as far as we get with the terraforming around them, and then we'll see how it goes, and all that fun stuff, and we can get this section done as well, and have all that, like, more finished, and just, get a fair amount of work done on all that. So, I want to get started on this, and then I'll bring you guys back when I have some amount of one of these pieces done that I have some idea of what I want to do with. So, I'll catch you guys in a minute. Okay, so welcome back. So, I have done quite a bit of work on at least the first of two layers that I'm planning on having here. But we still got walls to put up as well as some other things, including a lift elevator back here. So what we have here is basically 6 storage spots for ready and waiting ships. They're going to be underground, so that that's basically where I'd put the ones that I'd want to have special in case I needed them. Like if I had to rapidly deploy a bunch of ships, I could very easily do that, and they'd be down here protected from other things. We're going to have some sort of construction and repair yard up top. We have the conveyor belt pushing system where you can get behind the ships and on the sides and just push them down the rails, and then turn them and get them up there to the lift, go up and out and down. They'll drop into the water. I cleared this section of river right here because this is a little past where I want to go. I want to make sure I have this section done at the same time as this build, because I need to know where the edge of the water is for this build specifically, because it's the boats. So if they're going to be dropping off here, I need to make sure this coast is good enough to make sure they have at least enough water to get into and not die. And I need to build in some cranes so I can lift them back up for repairs, etc., etc., etc. So, and it's pretty well lit. I need to do some pillars in the ceiling as well, of course. But basically, I moved the model over from the cliff island, so I copied it block by block over here, and I have it there. So I have that as reference, and then I basically replicated that 6 times with the ready and waiting ship. The only difference is that I made the masts bend backwards with the thing rotated around, which is another thing that it's capable of doing. So it's spun around into a ready waiting position on the side, this going down, the rope stretched out, and back there. But otherwise, it's exactly the same as that one over there. All 6 of these, and they're just in different positions because I wanted to vary it up so they weren't exactly uniform. I may put in some other things down here, but I'm going to try to avoid putting in any sort of invisible item frames or armor stands if at all possible, just so I don't add any unnecessary lag to this area, because it is pretty laggy for other people, and I don't want to make this into a super lag trap any more than it already is. So, and then of course here and here I have 2 beacons just for uniformity. Blasting up some speed just to make sure I have the effect. So I was getting that one from that beacon, and it was kept going in and out, and it was just so annoying, so I added in these so I wouldn't have to deal with the in and out of the speed effect. I may end up putting a couple back here as well, or at least one back here, just so that I can have that uniform effect if it goes away. I haven't really walked around back here, but I don't know. It may go away back here, but I'm not sure. But for now, so I think the next step for me, now that I've got these ships and this floor in here, I think the next step for me is to do the ceiling, the roof above these, as well as the floor of the next layer, so that I have that in place. And then once I have that in place, then I can put in the lift system back here. which will go there. And actually the ceiling and the walls, so that I have this floor completely boxed in, so I can have that. And most of this is going to be underground, so I don't have to worry too much about the exterior walls, it's just the interior walls. Kind of like what I did there. We'll work on that, and we'll extend this as far this way as we want, making sure to leave enough room for the lift, which we may end up building to. Not 100% sure, yeah, we'll get that working, and I'll bring you guys back when I have that completed. So catch you guys in a second. Okay, so we're back. So I decided to do this clip in spectator mode just so you can see a little better what we have here. So I basically done this segment of river. So it's quite a bit later in the week than I thought it would be. So it may be, I may not get nearly as far as I was hoping. But what we have gotten done since last time, we have expanded to the second floor, done the roof, as well as done a bit of other work around here, the terraforming on the river and the ground itself. And if we fly around here, you can kind of see I still have quite a bit of work to do around this end here and just connecting up. But we've basically added in this walkway, expanded this wall here. I think I might put something up here, maybe iron bars or something, I don't know. Or maybe just glass panes again, as I did I removed them. And then I think I might put them back. And then we got this wall in here all around, so it's basically completely encased, and we have a small emergency exit back here. Underneath, we're going to add in some pillars as well as the cranes, and build the boats up top, the elevator back here, and do some other work back here, which may involve some sort of like woodworking workshop area down here, and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, that's basically what I got here. But the other reason why I decided to join in spectator mode here is because I want to kind of go about, like, this episode and the last episode I've done quite a bit of terraforming, and I've done a little bit before in previous episodes, and I think it looks relatively okay. I'm sure some people are probably wondering, like, how I get to do things like this, right? So basically, I'm going to kind of go about my process for the river, and then we'll go about the train itself. So basically, what I kind of like to do for rivers, like this one, which you can see here, which I still need to let the kelp grow in a little bit on this side, or whatever. Basically, I first want to map out the edges, make sure I have it at the width I want, and then you can either mine it manually or blow it up, which is what I did with this. You send in TNT, make a giant mess, and then you just sort of clean it up. Make sure you want to keep an eye on what your surface level is going to be. Make sure it's smooth, figure out a good curve, whether you want it to be super shallow or super deep. However you want to go about that, you'd figure it out, and then you go with that, and then just basically make sure it's relatively consistent, either smooth or jagged, or however you want to go about it. And rivers, they don't have to be of consistent width all of the time, because they're rivers, and I guess these technically aren't rivers, but they're close enough, because it's connecting to the ocean and it's really thick, and they're not really coming from mountains, which is what rivers typically are, but it's sort of like a really thin ocean in between islands, but for all intents and purposes, they are rivers. And then, yeah, that's how I went about that. You can do whatever you want with the underground portion, as steep as you want. I typically like to round it out. I typically start from like the inner corner and work my way outwards. Like if I would start, like if I were doing this section, I would start here and work my way row by row all the way out and around until I reach like this point here. And then I just sort of like cap it off so I'd have a section done. And then then once I have both sides done in that same manner, like I'd start on this side here and work my way around here. And then once I have those two sections done, then I'd work on meeting up at the middle on the bottom and just sort of cleaning up the bottom edge to make it look nice, and then replace it with whatever blocks I want, sand, gravel, whatever, probably do it in concrete if you're doing something like that if you wanted to, but anyway, that's basically how I kind of do the rivers, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm thinking I might put a sunken ship down here, but that's a much later project. And then for the terraforming stuff, so terraforming is a little different because most of the time it's not always going to be where terrain was before. So you can either blow up what was there and just start from scratch placing blocks. You can go full hollow, but I've found that hollow terrain can lead to it can be very bad because you can leave like gaps underground which you may forget to light up, and then you have a mob spawning problem, and it's just nice. I have opted for the completely solid approach on all of my terrain so that I completely avoid that problem. And it also reduces lag slightly, and if I go inside here, because I'm a spectator, you can see pretty clearly all of that, and it's just nice and clean, and you don't have to, like, oh, there's a big gaping hole, and I can just see everything nice and clean, and spectator, all that fun stuff. And then you just sort of basically, I typically like to start with terrain. Let's fly over to the sea stack I built last episode. Just to give you a better example. So when I do something like that, which could be a mountain or cliffs or something along those lines, I typically like to start on the outermost extremity, like something like this, and basically the opposite of a river. I start at the face and work my way up and in. As I'm going, because I typically I started out with completely stone and then I replace blocks as I go. I like just to keep track of what I've already done and what I haven't, because it's all the same. I often just do like a rough shape first to get a good outline, and then I go about it and replace blocks and all that fun stuff. I start at the extremity, work my way up to like the top point, and work my way around and just sort of smooth it out, make it look nice, and even out all the edges and all that fun stuff. So start at the points and work my way in and meet up with other points. And that's basically how I do that sort of terraining. If I were doing a hill, for example, I'd start up here and work my way down and around. And then when I'm doing like a large mountain, like usually if I'm like with the mob farm that I built with the giant statue over there, I started at the top and worked my way down to the water's surface, and then I did the river itself. Which, if you watched that video, you should remember. But if you're doing something like this that's not super tall, you can do water and then this, or you can do this and then water. I just typically like to even it out at the water's surface, if there is even going to be water surface, which of course may not be a thing if you're not doing rivers and that sort of thing. But it's good to have a dividing line that you can just sort of work from and work towards. Also, I dried out the river here for future use, because I wanted to have that water gone, just to save myself some time, because I was a little needing to do something else for this. But anyway, hopefully that all makes sense and gives you a basic idea of my general process for the beast of terraforming, which in itself is a huge undertaking and a huge process, but it can look really nice and is a definite improvement on the exterior of my base compared to this. It's a definite improvement, and once I get the trees and other bushes and stuff in here, it will just look even better than it already does, which I think will be very nice. I'm hoping to get to that eventually, but I think I'm going to wait to do that until I've just like finished up this section, this point out here, as well as the other side over on the other side of the arena here, and all that to say, yeah, my voice is dead. I think I want to get back to work on this project here, build the boats up here, which I'm hoping to do some that are partially constructed and some that are just damaged. as well as the crane and things out here just to finish up this edge here. And because it's a river biome, I get drowned, which is neat. I got a trident from one while I was working on this, which was a pretty good thing, I think. I think that's my 5th or 6th trident, which is pretty nice. But anyway, can't really see much because I'm a spectator. That's cool. I don't know that. But anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next clip where we have some more constructed here and hopefully get it a little more of a refined build in a minute. So, catch you guys then. Okay, so welcome back. So, unfortunately, time has run out for this week and I did not get to finish putting in the cranes, which is unfortunate, but I guess, now, so school has resumed now. Spring break, the 1 week of spring break that I had is all over, so I won't have as much time as normal to do things like this. And this just had an insane amount of detail, and some other things happened, so what I got, basically, I believe the ships were here last clip. These ones up top, various amounts of construction and demolition, broken. That here, I have not gotten to put anything around here or up there, but we have here is a flat area, which I may put some trees in here. We have the lift, which is part way up, which, I missed it. Oh, never mind, that's fine. I'll show you more of the lift in a second. We got it connected up over here just so it's kind of finished on the sides and it's just looking a little nicer, though I believe I missed a spot there. We'll adjust that in a minute when we're done here. I don't know, I'm done with the episode. We come down here to the lift, and we got basically a scissor lift with a rotating thing. I have banners below, with slabs here to make it look like there's some sort of like track that the wheels can push through, and then it'll scissor lift up and down, which I think is pretty cool. And it should, like, if I did the like proper math and everything, this would probably be a little closer together so that when it reaches the max distance, it'll be level with the floor. But I don't care to do that. We have a general like walkway here, and we have 3. I think shuffleboard is probably the best way to put it. Shuffleboard quartz, this is a duos, and these are both 3s, though they're different distances, and I think, yeah, I have these here just because I wanted something in here, but I didn't want to do too much with it. I think I need to do something with this roof here, because I missed that. We'll fix that as well, and basically connected it up, and just finished it out over here on this side. But other than that, yeah, we're basically done with this, aside from a couple small issues that I just noticed. Oh yes, we opened this up so you can just walk in and see. I gotta add in a wall so you don't go into the thing and get crushed by the giant elevator. But we can now access this bottom floor from down here. We'll probably add in more stairs and things later on, but that's in another section. So anyway, we're going to end this episode here. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, check out my other videos and series, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.